Check it out. It turned into Christmas in here while I was away. I swear to God, Sarah must be Santa's daughter at times. She is Mrs. Christmas. What do you think? Do you like it? I like it. She changed everything. And of course, you guys know what happens when the wifey cleans your shop up or does stuff. You'll never find anything. Right away, I'm asking her for something that goes in my microphone. She's like, "Oh." And I go, "Yeah, it was right here." "Oh, I think I threw it away." Like, what? But she found it. Like, here we go. And it begins, right? And so it begins. Anyway, what do we got going on? What do we got going on here? I think I got quite a bit going on. We're going to get into it right now. She wanted me centered up between the stockings. We even got she had some ornaments in the tree of the bear, which came here from viewers. How kind is that? Then she even put Ricky the raccoon in the tree. See that? That'll be Ruby's contribution to the tree. Ricky the raccoon. Now, what do we got? We got a lot. Give me 1 second. Okay, for a quick reminder, you guys, just a short video, but this is the video that Jim sent in to us, and this just went down last week. And I see, a few people said they see something leaning on a kneecap or something. I don't know, what I see is, I see the forearm under the chin, that top part there, the top dark part right now being the face, the fist on the our right-hand side, fingers pointing down. And I swear I saw those fingers moving in this video. And massive shoulders, way wider than ours, long, frickin' shoulder to elbow distance, and crazy distance from hand to elbow on this being, whatever it is, caught in the thermal scope.
Yeah, you do.
And I asked Jim if he would send us a daylight video, or even better, if we had somebody out there and mimic it at night. That'd be great to have a human being do that, go out to where that thing was and record him with the thermal. But here's this video that he sent. Now I think he might have double tapped on record, Jim, because this is what we got. Hold on, let me stop it here. Alright, so I screenshot it, froze it, screenshot it. So this is the view that Jim had. That's where he's looking against, and it was out at the tree line, if I remember correctly, right? And his thermal scope was zoomed in on that object all the way out there. Texas. Southeast Texas? Hill Country, Texas? My brain's a little frazzled right now. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes I remember. Sometimes I don't, but I know it's Texas. Jim, absolutely appreciate you did this. And if one day one of your buddies is over and you're having beers or something and he's brave enough, how cool would that be if you guys used a man to go there and in broad daylight mark a spot at that tree line so you can find it in the dark and put a guy there, put a human being there, park exactly where you were, and film it with the thermal, with a human? How crazy of a comparison would that be? I know it's a lot to ask, and I don't expect anything from anyone, but if you're ever bored, Jim, if you're ever bored, you guys having a couple of beers, whatever, that would be something else to show us, to go along with the thermal, wouldn't it not? You know what I mean? I think you would probably be curious to see that comparison as well, having a human being go out there and maybe attempt the same position and record it with the thermal. Anyways, appreciate you, man. Super appreciate you for doing that. Very generous. There we go. All right, so I had a glance at my email waiting for the ferry boat ride home today, and we had one from our friend M. Lewis. Emailed me, and I think he emailed me a bunch of screenshots of a comment from somebody on here who left quite a lengthy story in the comment section, I believe having a conversation with all of you. And I guess he felt it worthy to send to me. So I copied all of the text from the individual comments from the same person, and I put them together. and we're going to have a go at it. I haven't a clue what it's about, as usual. Yeah, for anybody who's new here, I don't decide what you guys are going to hear or not. It's a little different than what a lot of other people do publicly, right? I am here to share truth, hopefully help you exercise your sixth sense, your intuition, and know what's legitimate or not on your own, right? Something we weren't really taught from the beginning. A big mistake for us. So that's what I do. I read it, you take from it what you will or leave it, and I believe we all know the truth. I believe. Deep inside, we know what's legit or not. So here we go. Excuse me. I was with a friend out in the California desert, climbing a mountain of basically boulders that went on forever, and near the top were snow-capped a little. There were large valleys between ridges, and we were yelling to hear our echoes bouncing off the rocks. What else do 12-year-olds do? A guy yelled back at us, and we tried to see him and couldn't. So we yelled again, and he answered, and this time we could see him. And he was jumping from rock to rock, much faster than we could do it. Lost my spot. And he was very far away. He looked like an ant, he was so far away. We couldn't understand him, but we waited maybe a minute before he disappeared between a couple of huge rocks. We stood up to see where he'd pop out, but he didn't, because he was literally standing behind us. No way. There was no way he could have done that quickly. He was huge and sweating, wearing what looked like loose, dirty, light-colored canvas pants and a tunic-type matching top and sandals. He spoke and he sounded like he was speaking Japanese or something. I told him we didn't understand him, and he smiled and answered in a thick Irish-like brogue about boys disappearing in the rocks. He called us fools for not bringing water. He smiled again and said something about us having no fear and that fear attracts the bad ones. We asked him if he was a bad one, and he laughed. He gave us his water bag and pointed back down to the rocks where we came and told us to go. We thanked him for the water, and he said to leave it on the last rock before we stepped back on the flats. But not in so many words. Before we could respond, he was gone. It took us an hour or so to get down, and we didn't touch his stinking water bag. It was heavy, and we passed it between us as we headed down, happy to be rid of it on the last red rock. Our dirt bikes were not far away, and we turned around to look at that stinking water bag one last time, and it was gone. I told this story a few years later to a Filipino drill instructor. He started speaking in different Asian languages, a few lines each before I told him the one it sounded like the most. And it was Chinese, not Japanese. Holy shit. Years later, another person I told this story to said he was an ancient one, and we were lucky to have met him. Borrego Springs, California, summer of 1980. So that's Borrego Springs, California. No. Oh, okay, so these are answers. These are individual answers. I guess he's replying to people commenting in the comment section, urging them to share this story in the comment section, okay? So I guess somebody said where, and he said Borrego Springs, California, summer in 1880. And then he answered again with no. He was huge, though. Brilliant white teeth when he smiled or talked. Language was difficult for him, both of us could tell, but he tried hard to make us understand, and we did. He didn't smell bad, but he looked filthy and had dark brown eyes. It was hard to make eye contact, honestly. And then somebody asked him a question, and he answered again. Yes, though it was bleached looking from the sun in streaks. He didn't give off anything to make us want to run, and he didn't crowd us by coming in closer. He was tall, but he was very wide at the shoulders, massive thighs, and huge arms and hands. He struggled with language. It took his time to find the words. When I think about the water bag he threw over to us, I don't remember if it was on him. It was just there and landed at our feet. It was crude with a stopper in it and awkwardly heavy for two kids to manage. And it was hard to drag down with us. We did what he said and took it with us, though we didn't drink from it. This is frickin' crazy, right? I wonder what the bag was made out of. I'd be cool to hear a description of the water bag. The only thing I've held on to from the experience was his comment about fear bringing the bad ones. Whenever I've gone on or off path over the years, I did so confidently, with the attitude I was the last thing anything would want to mess with. Predators can sense fear and will look for you. Bears, mountain lions, etc. If there's anything more than that, I don't know, and I don't care to. There are a few people thinking he was some random guy, but he wasn't. My stepdad was 6'2", and this guy had to be over 7 feet easily. But that wasn't what I noticed. It was his shoulders. Twice as wide or more facing forward twice as wide or more facing forward probably meant more than anyone should have. And when I say huge, I mean huge. But he was proportional, except for his massive thighs and calves, upper arms and forearms to match. I don't remember any facial hair except for his mess of hair coming down just past his shoulders. It looked wet, and he was sweating, but not breathing very hard. After startling us with his appearance, he spoke first in what we thought was Japanese, because of all the World War II movies we had seen. And he wasn't carrying anything either, not even a belt, I can recall, but if he was, it was under his long shirt. I called his clothes canvas-like, but you could see the individual threads, a little thicker than burlap or like one of those Mexican hoodies, for example, yet not as refined, much more crude or homemade. Same goes for the sandals. No idea what the bottoms are made of, though they looked lashed to his feet, with corridor rope that went up his ankles and disappeared into his pant legs. The water bag he gave us must have had close to 3 gallons in it because it was heavy for us to handle. It wasn't canteen size, more like a standard pillow in size, like you'd have in your bed. And I don't remember what it was made of, only it wasn't man-made, and it was rugged because we dragged it down a lot of boulders and it didn't leak a drop. The cord was like a woven rope that wrapped around the bag at both ends like a shoulder bag, and it had a thicker and wider part in the middle of the rope. His skin was weathered and tanned. His face had a normal-sized nose, 2 eyebrows that were not bushy or anything, brown eyes that were hard to look at for more than a moment. That's why I remember the threads of his clothes so well. He'd smile whenever we locked eyes. When he motioned for us to go back down, he didn't point a finger. He used his whole hand, palm flat, in a slow chopping arc, and didn't look at where he was indicating. He kept looking right at us. Honestly, if he meant either of us harm, he could have crushed my skull with only 3 of his fingers on that hand. The middle finger seemed bent some, or the one next to it, because the tips touched, but there was a gap. The rest of the fingers were straight. After he tossed us the water bag, we were so focused on keeping it from sliding off the boulder and him telling us to leave it on the last one that when we looked up, he was gone. He couldn't have been hidden behind the bigger boulders or we would have seen him. My friend said, "Let's go," and we lifted the bag and made our way down. First one of us would jump down on a boulder, then hand the bag down. We thought about leaving the bag halfway down, but he told us to leave it on the last rock, so we did as we were told. It wasn't made of skin or leather. It was something else that handled getting dragged down a mountain of boulders and showed nowhere at all. Like I said before, when we looked back, maybe less than a minute, it was gone. We even went back thinking it was on a different rock, but our footprints only went to the same rock. We told my friend's mom we met a huge man up in the boulders, and she didn't look too concerned. She asked if he was nice, and we said, yeah, that was that. We went out riding around the next day, but didn't go up the mountain. We'd stop and look for him, but There was always nothing. What and who we encountered was no demon. I remember my friend and I talking about it several years later while we were watching an NFL football game on TV. Another friend mentioned something about how big the guys were on the offensive line, some on defense, then about how fast Lawrence Taylor was from the earlier game. My friend said that we'd met a guy several years ago out in the desert that could knock those guys out of the way and could grab Taylor from behind, stopping him dead in his tracks. Quote, "There's no effing way anyone could do that. Taylor is as fast and a beast off the line. Even double-teamed, he was unstoppable." End quote. He looked over to me for confirmation, but I said he was right. The guy we met could have knocked any of those players flying with only a shove and run down Taylor easily. He blew us off and we let it go. He wasn't like the Incredible Hulk, though, for an example, but he was enormous and unnaturally fast. Not sure why people are getting all bent over how I described this guy in the desert of Southern California. Context is what is key here. Everyone has met and will continue to meet the very old in society until they themselves join their ranks. And call them what you will. Elderly, ancient, old, archaic, extremely seasoned, etc. You get the point I'm making. I wasn't describing an old lady who walks to the park each day to feed the birds. For example, she sat down heavily at the end of her favorite bench and took a moment to settle herself. She was slow and methodical. Her actions were those of an ancient one, and who has done these same motions over a lifetime. When I told the story to someone and they called him an ancient one, it was not because he was an ancient one, it was because it made sense he was potentially an ancient one. The reference is exclusivity or rarity, and it fit with who or what he may have been, not because he was old, but because he had a timelessness about him that defied conventional descriptors. Until he is named otherwise, Ancient One should be seen as a title of sorts. When I told this story once to a guy much older than me, 1919, in brackets, B dot, period, B period, 1919 in two brackets, he was the one who named him an Ancient One. He didn't go into why except to say that they are few and don't interact with people normally. And it explained why he struggled with language. Most people never see one, let alone speak with one, and he said we were very lucky to meet him. To seek one out brings misfortune. The opposite if they show themselves to you. His grandfather told him about them and their connection to nature in general. This is an amazing frickin' story. Tried to put out what I can remember, and it's still rather vivid in my memory because it was such an unusual encounter. We were mesmerized when he responded to our echoing howls from so far away. And it took us a minute to locate him, and we only did because he was moving so fast. His response wasn't in words. It was more like a loud whoop. And now that I think about it, I don't remember it echoing at all. And we stopped when we heard his whoop. We were going to bolt down the rocks when he got a little closer. It all went out the window when he was just there. All of a sudden, and I didn't get that feeling running was needed because he didn't give off any bad vibes at all. He was going somewhere, I also believe. We were only a distraction. I don't think he was tracking anything or following something because he wasn't looking around. It's still a creepy story. Humans don't look like he did. Definitely aren't the only one who's had an experience there that is out of the ordinary. My niece, who is the most reasonable, grounded young woman, swears that she saw a jackalope down there. The other day at dinner, she told us she saw one like it was no big thing, and my brother-in-law was like, "Honey, those aren't real." She was shocked. Like she really thought it was real, and she was just lucky to have seen one in the wild. She got really quiet and was like, "What did I see then?" I said, "Babe, it was a borigo. It was Borigo Springs." Sorry, let me read that again. And I said, Babe, it was Borrego Springs. You probably did see one. It's like another planet there. Anyway, thanks for sharing. Be blessed. The water exchange, and then here's a note, I think. The water exchange ritual makes it seem like the gentry, especially with that Irish accent. Very interesting indeed. I think that was from M. Lewis at the end, I think. Wow. How is that for an experience shared here? What do you guys think of that one? I wonder how many people out there... Man, my eyes are burning. I wonder how many people out there have had a similar encounter with somebody similar to that description. I mean, obviously the size description fits the patterns here for a lot of these sightings people are having of giant, hairy, naked, more of a man than anything else sightings, right? Tens of thousands of them. But the authorities at B don't want us to know, right? Don't want us to know. It's almost like the red-haired giants were coming to my mind when I first started reading that experience. But then the whoop, like throwing a loop into when you were just finally starting to maybe kind of get a good grip on what's going on, and then we get a bit of a loop thrown in, as usual, right? Crazy. Imagine if you could come across that individual again somehow and have a conversation. All right, who are you? And then I'd be struggling with the language, getting it across, but I'd be like, don't worry, take your time. We got all the time in the world. I'm not leaving until we're done. Let's talk. Wouldn't that be an amazing conversation? Holy shizzle. And that is interesting off of fear will bring in the bad ones. How about that for a quote? All right, well, there we go. We got more puzzle pieces, right? more puzzle pieces to put on the shelf anyway, until something ignites these items we just shelved up here now for later to pull down and add to something else that's going to be coming along eventually. Wow, that is something else. Is there anybody else out there that, and you know what, I bet there is somebody, and they probably thought it just sounds too freaking crazy to share it. It's not. The so-called reality we've been fed is crazy. But our real world here? No. Who's next? Appreciate the original commentor with that one. Appreciate you. You want to email me in anytime, giver. Fresh out of the oven with this next email to all of you through me. New York Howl is the title of this email. Hi, Steve Man. Hey, Steve Man. How's it going? It's going good. I've been watching your videos for years now since you were a hunting channel. I love your no BS attitude. Right on, man. Welcome. I live in Dorset, England. Hope I pronounced it correct. Dorset? England now, but when I was living in New York a few years ago, I worked as a gardener with some interesting lady. One day we were digging up weeds and shooting the shit about different topics, and I thought about what you said, and I asked her if she'd ever seen a Sasquatch. She paused and then told me that she was staying at a friend's house that backed onto the Catskills Mountains and a large forest area, and was woken up one night by a huge roar. She said it sounded like a dragon and thought it was a female for some reason. She said it shook her, and she couldn't get back to sleep the whole night. It reminded her of when she was visiting her husband's friend in the Louisiana swamp. He told her he saw a Sasquatch walk past his window, and it was huge because his house was on stilts. She laughed at him then, but told me that he was dead serious. Cheers, Steve. That's all I got. Keep on keeping on, brother Jack. That's a lot, Jack. Appreciate it, man. And it just goes to back up what I've been telling everybody for quite some time. When I don't care where you are. I don't care where you are. Who you talk, if you're talking to somebody rural or works out in the woods, in the mountains, mining, logging, whatever, even commercial fishing, whatever. But when you start looking people square in the eye and don't smile and just straight up, you ever seen anything weird in the woods? Ever? While you've been out doing whatever you do? And believe me, when people know, they instantly go to their experience, their knowledge. They know. They know what you mean. Because people that don't and haven't seen shit, they're going to be like, nope, not really, nope. Right? But more times than not, somebody chimes in. It's amazing. It's absolutely mind-boggling how many people in our communities have had these experiences. And not too many people want to offer it up. You have to convince them that you're legitimately interested and you're dead serious and they're in a safe place to share. Because when people have a smirk on their face at all, spooked away, they're not going to say shit. They're not going to say nothing. Can't really blame them, really. I mean, most human beings are part of the herd, right? Insecure herd animals on the average. What's this? Here's another comment. I don't think... Oh, no, I read it. Sorry, read it. Caught myself. Good boy. All right, what's this one? These are all fresh out of the oven today, all right? It's titled Black Cougar in NH. That'll be New Hampshire. Dear Steve, my name is Benjamin Cass, C-A-S-S, and I'm writing you to tell you about my experience with a black cougar in southwestern New Hampshire. The date was March 3rd, 2023. I was walking down the old railroad bed that's been turned into a hiking trail, and it was about 1.5 miles outside of Lebanon. It was just a leisurely hike that they usually take in the springtime. I looked up, and right out in front of me, probably 30 yards away, was a black cougar, which was the entire width of the old railroad bed. It didn't even acknowledge my presence and continued down the other side of the riverbed and into a large field. I didn't have my cell phone on me that day or I would have gotten a picture of it. I've told my brothers and I've told my mom and they all think I'm nuts and think I'm hallucinating or something. My whole family says there's no way there's a black cougar in New Hampshire in the beginning of March. I know what I saw, Steve. I've been in the woods my entire life since I was 5 years old. I've had a few other stories that I'll tell you in another email. Sincerely, Benjamin Cass. P.S. You can share my name. I'm not afraid of telling the truth when it's the truth. Right on, man. Love it. Love it, brother. Share away. Whenever you got time, send it my way. And we'll get to share it. I want to hear it all. And you know what? Somebody else emailed me about seeing a black cougar. Some people are going to go, there's no black cougars. Oh, please, stop it. There can be color variations of everything and have the odd color variation. That's just all there is to it. And there's not a human being alive that can dictate otherwise. Not one. There isn't one human being alive that can dictate to us there's no black cougars. Nobody. Nobody. What do we got here? This may have been another comment from Mr. Lewis, emailed in. No, this is from at LMHJR_Baskar. 10 months ago, my grandparents grew up in the hills of Kentucky and Tennessee. What? Maybe it was posted 10 months ago. I don't know. Let's start again. My grandparents grew up in the hills of Kentucky and Tennessee. For those that don't know, that's what that area has been called by the residents for who knows how long. I remember one trip, 37 years ago, I was 10, where my grandparents decided to take me down to see the family plots and the shacks they grew up in. And he put in brackets, I'm in Ohio, end bracket. The journey down to Kentucky was lively, but as soon as we entered deep forestry, my grandparents went dead silent. For a long time, I thought they were just reminiscing about the past, but it wasn't until many years later that I realized that there's superstitions and actual truths to things. We were about 3 hours away from our destination, going up the winding roads, And me gaping out the house is so darn close to the road when Grandpa pulls into a yard and tells me to come. I'm confused for obvious reasons, and Grandma knocks on the door, and an old woman just ushers us in. I thought they all knew each other. Nope, not a clue. Never met. All I was told is that we shouldn't travel after sunset, and we should stay indoors if we could. It was an old house, and the outside definitely didn't match the inside. Black wood, tarnished with time, but bright and warm inside. For all I know, while I slept on the couch, they were all talking through the night. I know Grandma looked tired the next day. We eventually made it to Grandpa's family plot, and all the while, Grandpa kept an eye on his watch. Those trips down to Kentucky and Tennessee were the only times I ever saw him keeping time. Any other time, he only paid attention when it was time to wind it. I learned a valuable lesson on that trip down there. Even if you never get carsick, don't read books while driving up and down mountains. You'll come to regret it big time. Another lesson, don't be out and about at night down there. Grandparents never talked about it much. They'd go pale and avoid the subject. I know they were outside a lot. I've heard stories, but the thing is, they never, ever went out at night by themselves. It wasn't until about 2008 when Grandpa said things that disturbed me about the hills. How there were creatures down there that makes no sense to outsiders, and whistling is nothing short of a death wish, and there were many unexplainable things. A part of me wishes I didn't hear some things. Sends a nauseous chill wave throughout my body just thinking about it. And that's it. There's a hanger. Left hanging. What's the name on this? Your YouTube handle name is LMHJR_BASKAR. All right, you got to email me back. You have to. Please. If you got time. Part of me wishes I didn't hear some things. I want to hear them. I'm all over it. Share them, please. Share them. Share them with me. I want to hear it. I'll guarantee you there's thousands of people sitting here listening too that want to hear it too. And if you want to send them to me, and you don't want your name associated at all, I got you, man. I got your back. I want the knowledge. It's all I want. I want the knowledge. And I haven't had anybody email us in and then afterwards go, man, I wish I didn't do that. Well, we had one couple did, but it's just a bit of a technical issue, that's all. Yeah. Email us, please. I think I might have to go in. I'm not sure yet. Hold on a second. All right. Here's another one. This is fresh out of the oven, and it's an odd title. It's titled Norm in Alaska, number 3. Pets returning after death. All right. Mr. Ice Valley. Huh? Mr. Ice Valley. Yes, I've had a couple of pets seemingly return from beyond the veil. The first was an Alaskan Husky, about 3 days after he died, coming back immediately before I woke up one morning. Only I don't think I was asleep so much as in a conscious out-of-body state. In my supposed dream, the dog I was missing so much had come to the side of my bed, and I was petting and patting him and telling him what a good dog he was. When I woke from the state I was in the same bed, in the same position, as in whatever place I was when I was seeing and touching the dog. This dead dog experience was so vivid to me that I immediately stopped feeling super sad for the dog. I just missed him. I knew he was doing just fine, and that he lived on somehow, somewhere. Wow. For all those of you who don't know, you're new here, we just had a dog pass away here the other day. And Sarah swears she heard it bark in the living room, and both her and our other dog went running into the living room as well. Heard the bark loud and clear. So I asked everyone if they'd experienced anything like that, and so here we are. This dead dog experience was so vivid to me that I immediately stopped feeling super sad for the dog. I just missed him. I knew he was doing just fine, and that he lived on somehow, somewhere. The second return was even more solid, though this time it was a cat that I helped to euthanize upstairs on the same bed. I gave the first sedative injection to the cat in this home, death after kidney failure. Afterwards, for the next 2 or 3 days, I would occasionally hear the now buried cat meowing unmistakably upstairs. Then for months after, I would wake up to feel the cat sleeping up against my legs like she used to. I had to move away from the house for a while, but now I am back in the same house. The new Alaskan husky that used to chase the living cat still takes off chasing the ghost cat now and then. He's convinced too. I've not slept upstairs again since I got back up here in Alaska, but I suspect that when I do, I'll have ghost feline company on the cold nights. And because of these experiences, I'm convinced that some pets, and probably some wild animals, do have some type of life after death. That means that there could be a whole lot of things that go bump in the night in the woods. Yes, you may use my name, Norm Solly. Norm, appreciate that, man. And because of you, I was going to share my story that I had last night. So, Sarah's daughter Maya, she phoned her crying the other day because she said Griffin came and visited her. She lives in Vancouver. So here I am on the mainland last night, and I dreamt that little Frenchie. All of a sudden, it was so real, and I don't dream about Griffin, our other dog. I don't dream about our dogs. I don't have dreams like this. I don't have vivid dreams that shoot me up in the middle of the night out of bed, wide awake with my heart racing, but this happened last night. I was in the kitchen with Sarah in our house, and all of a sudden Griffin just appeared on the kitchen floor, and then he went running out of the kitchen, running into the living room to the front door, barking, and then he went running around the room, only he ran through the couch. And then he came straight to me. I'm on my knees, and Sarah's almost crying. She went and got a spoonful of food. She's like, Griffin, come here. Do you want something to eat? Like this. And then I went to touch him. My hand went through him, and then he disappeared. And that was my dream I had last night. And it was so real. I shot straight up, woke up like this. Whoa. There you go. Take from it what you will, but it was so real, and it woke me up. I don't know. It was just very bizarre. Very bizarre. I know that this isn't all there is to it. This lifetime right now, this isn't it. Agree or disagree, doesn't matter. For me, I know. I know. Got a new one here from the Cooge, our friend and contributor. Our A-type killer, member of the good guy army. I say that as a kind thing, killer. I don't mean you're a killer. You know what I mean. Kick-ass dude. Spirits of Our Lost Pets is the title of this email from the Cooge. Hey, Steve Cujo here. I think the spirit of our beloved pet Coco is still visiting us in her home. All 4 of us loved her very much, and she was taken from us unexpectedly after a visit to the veterinarian, who was just supposed to clean her teeth. He killed her using anesthesia when trying to remove some bad ones that we didn't ask him to do. I almost went to jail that day because we counted her as a family member. Oh, man, no doubt. Shit. Luckily, my wife stopped me, but I think I gave this incompetent idiot the scare of his life. Coco was 8 years old, a black pug, and she was the best dog ever. When we were all cuddled up on the couch watching TV, she would always find her way to where I was. She would climb up on me when I was laying down and find the spot that I had been shot in the face. Then she would lick it and smell it like she was comforting me. Just that spot. Crazy. She was such a good dog. Anyway, after she died, there have been times where it was quiet in the house and we could hear what sounded like her walking on the tile with her nails clicking as she walked. I myself could have sworn I saw her cross over my line of sight in that same hallway where we heard the clicking. Just a small black shape crossing from the kitchen into the living room, but when I got there, there was nothing there. And my wife swears that she has seen her laying on the couch, but when she does a double take, there's nothing there. We got another pug about a year after we lost Coco. We named the pug puppy Lucy. Coco's bedroom was in the downstairs bathroom. For whatever reason, she liked it in there. I think it was the tile floor that kept her cool when she wanted to cool off, getting out of her bed that we made for her in there. And she didn't like being in bed with us to sleep because she could not get down by herself, especially when she started to get older and started started graying around her face. We set the new pup up in the same spot, and in the morning, when I feed her something strange happens. Whenever I put down the food, the new pup leaves it alone initially. And sometimes she'll approach it, but then she looks back up really quick and runs in circles. And then sometimes she'll let out a little chuff, looking in an empty part of the room, not looking at me. And I'm thinking that maybe Coco's spirit is still in that room with her sometimes, especially when the food gets put out. No doubt. Coco's like, get away from my bowl. Crazy. After Coco died, I did not dream of her at all. But after we got Lucy, I began to dream of Coco. The dream that I had was that she was staring into my face and smiling, and I'd wake up with her licking my face where I was shot. And I got the distinct impression that she was happy that we had got a little pup. Anyways, that's it. Just wanted to share that story because of what happened with you and yours in your home. I think they may stay with us to make sure we're okay. At least that's what I think. Have a great Christmas, Steve. Cujo. Yeah, you too, Cuj. Tell your family Merry Christmas too, would you? Here's the photos. I'll just fold them up here. The pugs are cool dogs, aren't they? Goofy little buggers. That's a tragic, shitty loss. Oh, I'd have a tough time. I'd have a tough time, right? Yeah, I'd have a real tough time. Yeah, sucks. Like, Sarah's having a bad moment again today when I got home. But she did great. She's doing great. When I was here last week, she goes, you gotta go for a couple of days. You gotta go do it. I'm like, okay, I'll go. You sure? She's like, no, go. I'll be fine. Okay. Then I get home today, and there she is, sobbing. Says it's tough. She said she keeps looking for him. She's had him at her ankles for 14 years. And you just feel so useless because there's nothing you can say, right? There's nothing you can say or do. There's nothing. It's tough. It's tough. But anyway, I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing these emails here, especially just how common it is for all of us to have pets. You got a pet, you're going to go through it, all right? So it's not a bad thing to hear about this from other people. That's for sure. Speak of the devil, here's another one, fresh out of the oven. Titled, For Sarah's Barking Experience and the Rest of the How to Hunt Family. Hi, Steve. My name is Corey. I'm 62 years young. And Sarah is not at all crazy about hearing Griffin barking. The first time I ever saw a ghost, it was a dog at a friend's house. No shit. I didn't know this. I didn't know any of this. I was sitting at the kitchen table waiting for him to say goodnight to his girlfriend, and all of a sudden I saw a German Shepherd looking at me as he was walking toward a ghost bowl on the kitchen floor. He leaned down to the bowl and looked at me one more time. He started walking, and it was like one of those cartoons where an elephant walks past a tree and disappears. He walked past a certain point and just vanished. I asked my friend's girlfriend if they had ever had a shepherd. She looked at me shocked and said yes. Then I asked her if the dog's bowl used to be right there on the floor where I saw it. She was shocked and said yes. How did you know that? I told her I'd just seen her dog. She then proceeded to tell me about her dog and that it had passed away years ago and that they had buried it near a tree out back. She told me that sometimes at night she hears the dog walking down the hallway and the dog's nails on the hardwood floor. I've had many more experiences such as this. I've seen people that have passed. What's that noise? Somebody's lighting up fireworks in the distance. I'm reading about ghosts and I'm hearing the weird noises. I'm like, come on, leave me alone. What? Not now. Sorry. Let me read that again. I have had many more experiences such as this. I have seen people that have passed. I've gotten messages for people. And also have seen a black cat in my old apartment with my brother sitting right there. He saw it as well. I never get to choose where when I see things like this. It just happens. I also had a Doberman named Tara that I had to put down due to cancer about 9 years ago. I still feel the pain and regret of that decision to this day. After she was down, I was at a friend's house. She had a cattle dog that I was never close to. And one night while sitting on the couch, Norman, the cattle dog, jumped up on the sofa next to me. He looked different. His ears were upright and he was sitting up straight, just like my Doberman. Norman started licking my face the way Tara did before she was put down. I could see Tara using this cattle dog as a vessel to say hello. That lasted for about 5 minutes. Then Norman jumped off the couch and walked away and laid down, returning to his normal self. So when Sarah hears the barking, I believe her. It was a blessing from Griffin from the other side. Whatever that may be. Steve, thank you for all you do, giving people a safe place to voice their experiences, and I pray that you and Sarah and Adventure Dog have a very wonderful Christmas. God bless. God bless, Steve. Appreciate you. Big time. Thank you so much for that email. I can make sure that Sarah listens to today's session too. She doesn't listen to all of them. She hears me enough. That's very interesting. I did not until we had our moment with Griffin the other day, and things have happened. I didn't have a clue that pets came back or stayed or whatever's going on. I did not have a clue this is all going down. But it does make sense with what we do know that goes down, right? Like I've always said, I don't know why. I don't know why I've felt this for many years. I've had a lot of friends of mine have died young. And every time it's just a killer. It's just real hard to take. But and all my friends were absolute characters. You know what I mean? They're just dicks and comedians. And I've always said, I don't know where I come up with this, but I always said, you know what? When I pass through, and if it is way better than here and they didn't tell me, I'm going to kick them all in the nuts. Right? Like, you bastards. Seriously? You could have came and told me. Man. You know what I mean? Right? But anyway. But no, we evolved from monkeys, right? Yeah, we evolved from monkeys. The monkeys are still here, though. The monkeys are still here, but we evolved from them. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. What I got? Somebody sent me something the other day, and it was one of those past so-called names in the Bigfoot community, and right away started talking about evolution. Yeah, sorry, that one's out. The jury's out on that one. Well, you know what? I can't dictate anything to anyone, but no, I am definitely not a fan of the evolution theory. Not a chance. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, but my guts are screaming that I'm correct. Yeah, we evolved all right. Right out of a chimp's ass. But the chimps are still here. Monkeys are still here, but we evolved from them. Nope, not from the knowledge, the truth that we've gained since probably the internet's been up. We can get a hold of each other and speak and share truth, but just this channel alone, all the people we hear from, for me, and how important I know that is, I have learned so much. Oh man, have I learned a lot from all of you. Thank God. Anyway, I better get going. I got things to do. And I should be here tomorrow. Oh, quick reminder. Remember Christmas time? I go live at Christmas. I'm going live. We ironed out the airline problem. Sarah did, crying her eyes out again. Christmas is gonna be fine. I'm like, oh my God, okay, good. But anyways, whether they're gonna have internet somewhere there, it's gonna be chaos. But you know what? I am going to be live on Christmas as usual because nobody's alone here. You're not alone, and I've been that person. Man, I don't know how many years I just wanted to go hide in a cupboard somewhere and hope for the Christmas season to just come and disappear. because it sucked. It sucked for me many times. And I know what it's like. But you know what? And I know there's many of you out there who possibly still experience the same thing today. But I know that we had a whole pile of you join me on Christmas each year, and it's a good time. Right? So just so you know, we'll be doing it again this Christmas. I will be live. I'll be in New Brunswick, but I'm going somewhere. I'll go in the barn, wherever it takes, and we're going to hang out for a few hours and make sure that we celebrate Christmas together. And all you people out there who don't think you have anybody, you got a lot of people here on Christmas, all right? And we want you here. Okay? So that's going down. What else? I think that's about it. I think. Probably something else, but whatever. I'll figure it out later. I'll be back tomorrow. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Oh, and we're going to, now that I'm back, I got all these other items knocked off. We're now going to get all of the look into it emails in my notes and email every single one of them from the Share My Story email you emailed into me. We're going to line up you to sit here and speak with me for all of us to hear us talk about knowledge, all right? We're going to be doing that quick. What else? Sarah's Cookbook. If you want a little stocking stuff for somebody, believe me, I've never come across anybody who can whip up food better than Sarah. Right? Farm girl. She knows what she's doing, and it's all fish and game, but you can use and chicken, you can use anything in there. It's all the same, and it's delicious and healthy. Links are below for that. The Guard Pro trail cameras, I swear on my life, they are the best ones I've ever used, and they're very affordable. Thank God, for me anyway, because I love my trail cameras. There's a link for those. Like I said, trail cameras to the outdoor enthusiast is no different than jewelry and makeup for women or fishing gear for anglers. You can never, ever have enough fishing rods, right? Probably with the people who like the jewelry and the makeup, there's never enough, right? Same deal with trail cameras and the outdoor enthusiast. Sarah's like, what do you want for Christmas? I don't want anything. Get me a trail camera. You got a bunch. I don't care. I love them. Get me more. You know. Anyway, the link below is for that. They're very, very affordable compared to the big name cameras that have been over promoted by the people who promote things in their hands. They don't even know what they're promoting, and I've watched them as I'm guiding them do it. They don't have a clue what they're promoting. They just want that money. Not me. I want you guys to have the best product you can to save money, because that's a special item for me. I've got so much experience with trail cameras, and I've spent so much money, and I wasted money on a lot of expensive trail cameras I wished I hadn't, but I didn't have anybody to set me straight. So anyway, these are the best ones I've ever used. There you go. Links below. I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, one more thing. Sarah's got me, she's got me a whole bunch of cheesy Christmas sweaters and shirts to wear for 12 days of Christmas too. So we're really going to get that going in here. And for everybody else, everybody new here, yep, we celebrate Christ's birthday here on this channel, just so you know. Later.